very, very exciting presentations for you this evening. Have you ever sat through a demo jam or app exchange demo and just thought, I really like the way your app looks, but I want to know how I can implement it, and what are the risks involved, and what do I need to know about implementing that app? And that's why we got together one afternoon in a hotel in London and had a cup of tea and had a chat about this thing, and we came up with the idea called technojam. So we've put 20 volunteer ISVs together to show us their applications. We have tested them. We have asked them to address all of the various architectural areas using the pyramid as a framework. We've asked them to assess their app against integration, capability, DevOps, data sharing, as well as taking us under the hood on many of their applications. And we're so excited this evening to present three of the companies that passed that test and create it and are very excited to bring their solutions to you. Sorry, I've got nerves. So without further ado, I'm going to invite Sean and Shiv, representing Learn Smarter, to come and talk to you about what they've built on Salesforce and how it works architecturally. So see you later.
Yeah, here we are. Okay. Hi everybody, can you hear me okay? Fantastic. So, we're from Learn Smarter. I'm Sean Dukes, I'm the CEO. I've been working on Salesforce for quite a long time, and in learning systems for a bit rather longer than that. So the first app we built on Salesforce, we built roughly about 10 years ago. We've been on quite a journey since then and learned an awful lot. In that time I've got 11 certifications, I've become an application architect, and I know how Salesforce works. Crazy thought. So we have built a brand new app, so the app you're seeing today is brand new, based on everything that I've learned over the last 10 years, and also working with great people like Shiv. So here we go.
And hi guys, I'm Shiv. I'm an investor and advisor at Learn Smarter, and I'm also CEO and founder for Daysworks. We're a platinum partner. We love Salesforce, and that's why we do this. And we found this amazing partnership where, we're building some cool stuff, I think, which is very interesting. And hopefully go a little bit more deep dive today to show you what's under the hood.
So, what is OnYou app all about? Basically, it's an LMS, whatever that means. So specifically what we do is, our background is in managing face-to-face training, the logistics around instructor-led training. So that is what we do, but most importantly, we do that working hand in hand with Trailhead and with my Trailhead, so that you can deliver then programs and track progress on those programs. You can tie Trailhead trails into face-to-face training and so on and so on. But most importantly, what we do is we add a layer of communication so that people can see exactly what they want, what they need to do. So in very, very large organizations, we can save hours and hours and hours, or thousands of hours of time by essentially making it very obvious to people exactly what they're required to do. So that communication thing across all the stakeholders is very important. There's been a slide from LinkedIn, which is where LinkedIn did a really good survey that says 57% of budget is still spent on face-to-face learning. So instructor-led training is not going anywhere, which is great. The rest of the slide, you don't have to read the whole thing, but basically what it says is that learning is kind of broken. Everyone can see the value of it, but actually that communication, managers don't know what training to give to people, employees are not getting the training they want and stuff like that. So we want to help break down that communication layer. That's very important. Can't be too salesy. So get into the real architectural stuff. These are the choices we made. 100% Lightning. We've gone from maximum declarative app because if we're working with architects and working with customers, we expect them to be able to and want to configure things their way. So we don't want to kind of dictate that to them. We use a minimum number of fields. All the fields in our app that you're going to get out of the box, fundamentally functional. If you want to add your own fields in, then we expect you to do that, but we're not going to make you have fields that are of no use to you whatsoever. Flexibility, I can't get into that position.
Neither can I.
But we want to give you maximum control. That's what it's really all about. We do have some sort of properly custom stuff like wizards to help you achieve things really, really quickly, but a lot of it is really declarative, and our app is built for communities. So at the moment we will interact with just 3 standard objects: accounts, contacts, and users. And I think this is the most important number on all of our slides. So with those standard objects, we're very aware of how important it is for you as a customer to preserve the integrity of your organization and so on and so on. So we have 0 triggers, validation rules, custom fields, processes, flows, and custom page layouts on any standard, all record types on any standard objects. So we have some lookups of those things, obviously, and we have declarative lookup settings to maintain the data integrity, but fundamentally that's it. So we're trying not to interfere with your org more than we have to.
And the reason also is because the organization that the complexity that we're targeting will have a lot of current customizations, and we want to make sure this is super smooth and it doesn't impede with the current processes. So we're staying away from creating automations on the standard object.
Exactly. Now I tried to put one more number on this and I couldn't, but anyway, if this gives you a start and you do win the lotto with these 5 numbers, don't forget me. So we have 36 at the moment custom objects, 12 tabs, so relatively few number of tabs, quite a lot of page layouts because we're using record types to maintain that declarative stuff. We talk about 4 sets of record types. So for example, when you're adding an element to a program, it could be a trailhead course or it could be a face-to-face course. There could be 2 different record types, so that's going across a number of different objects because we want to use different page layouts for that. We have some lighting components, that's growing. So these are things that you can put into quick actions and also to that very important communication, which we'll look at the moment. So this will work with, there'll be some key users who are going to need basically a full enterprise license to manage the app, but it's designed to work in an internal community, so that will be using Lightning Platform 1, and it will work with other licenses as well. And then this stuff here, which is very exciting, so I don't want to give anything away, but if you look at the agenda, you'll see on Thursday there's an announcement coming out and told us what it is. So as far as I'm aware, Trailhead and MyTrailhead are going to be working with customer-facing communities as well, which is great because our app will work with those straight out of the box anyway. So integrated app, so we're working with the trail tracker to get the data out of Trailhead. Obviously that's really changing fast, so we're going to be able to get more data more quickly soon. And then finally, we think about sharing. So we built her up. You have a look in a second. We'll do a little data diagram and talk about that sharing. But we've thought a lot, very, very hard about how you're going to want to share different information within it. And fundamentally, we use users, but you can use contacts as well for people, depending on what works for you. This is just an example of obviously user hierarchy, so you can have like approval processes and all that kind of stuff supported within the app. So scalability, we thought very carefully about where we put master details in, and also things like roll-up summaries, for example. We never rely on roll-up summaries for anything because, as you probably know, they don't calculate in real time, so you couldn't use that for managing, for example, availability, something like that. But we do use them for basically reporting, so there are some of those within the app. This is just a little bit of the data structure, not the whole thing, but just to give you an idea of how some of those some of the master details and stuff are working. So if you look on like this side, on the right-hand side, you can see there are a few master details there. That would be where we've got like scheduled courses and registration of participants, that kind of stuff, where you can use master detail quite helpfully. But on the other side, we've got a learning item, which would be like a trailhead trail or something. There could be thousands of people who've done a trailhead badge, or even tens of thousands of people. So obviously we want to avoid any kind of master detail relationships there. Not much on this slide. It's fully native, so APIs are just going to whatever you can do with Salesforce. We do support some specific Salesforce features we're expecting large customers to use, like Salesforce Shield. You can use person accounts and language translation. So we've built the app to be able to be translatable and out of the box. So in terms of implementation, out of the box, you're going to get a lot of stuff already, but then we would expect customers to build some stuff. So, for example, build dashboards, build emails, build surveys, that kind of thing. So we can work with Salesforce surveys to send out a survey when somebody's completed training, for example, stuff like that. And then there would be stuff to configure, which is obviously where Shiv's going to come in quite a bit. So there'll be a lot of configuration or a degree of configuration on the app that will need to happen. And yeah, so here we are.
Absolutely. So, to bring that home, one of the major reasons why, from a technical perspective where we're involved, is also to make sure that this is scalable. The kind of customers that we're looking at in terms of having this implemented would have like 400,000 people up to, right? So scalability, it was a very critical factor in how the architecture was chosen. That's why we were also part of how we could get involved in the architecture side and to also deliver this at a very global scale. So very, very excited about making sure that this very first app with MyChillit on top of what we're building on is the future of how learning is going to be. So that's one of the reasons why we wanted to get involved and also focus on architecture.
And from our side point of view, we're delighted to work with Sim and his team. Great people to work with, but it does give us that real global reach, so we can have people in any time zone or whatever helping us and helping you. Okay, just a few screenshots then. So this is just some stuff. Obviously, the dashboard, everybody's seen the dashboard. The idea, sorry, go back, that little thing on the right-hand side there would be surfacing then some of the things that people are doing. And obviously, different people are going to, so the idea is that if you've got like a traditional learning management system, that's all you've got, it's all about learning. Whereas here we're expecting people to be doing something else. So in this case, a salesperson or whatever, we can surface their learning within there with a simple lightning component. The same kind of thing within a community. This could be a customer community, it can now be an external facing community as well. So you can surface that kind of thing, and obviously you have registrations and stuff going on there as well. And then just some stuff. So this is tracking performance on the program. This is versioning. So if compliance is important to you, then versioning is probably important. You need to know what version of a course a person's done. So we support that all the way through the app as well, and stuff like mobile and service. So there we are.
So any questions, we're open to answer them. But in a short, in a nutshell, it is bringing MyTrail to the masses on making sure that we can do internal training as well as enable companies to do external partner community training as well. So more than happy to answer questions. Guys, thank you so much for your time.
All right.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.